know this. Chennedy Carter, that's right, the guard that played for the Chicago Sky, that of course really and truly sort of popped off all the what you would call violence towards Caitlin Clark last year, does not have a job.
Imagine being so good at your job that you literally lead an entire professional league in scoring, yet WNBA teams won't sign you. That's Chennedy Carter's reality right now, dominating in China with 32 points per game, while the basketball world back home looks the other way after that incident with Caitlin Clark.
She is playing in China, and she just concluded what is a pretty, I would say, sizable feat. And we know one thing that Chennedy Carter can do. She can absolutely score like a bandit. I mean, she is filthy scoring the ball.
When Carter dropped 50 points in a Chinese league game, it highlighted the stark contrast of her situation. How would you feel watching players with half your talent getting contracts while you're putting up these numbers on the other side of the world? Today, we're diving into Carter's complicated case, examining which WNBA team could transform their futures by taking a chance on basketball's most talented outcast.
A lot of you may not know who I'm talking about. Surely you do, but if you don't, this, of course, was Chennedy Carter calling Caitlin Clark a bitch last year before she gave her the WWE forearm shiver. All right here, called her a bitch, boom, put her on the floor.
With all their bad incidents, can you believe what Chennedy Carter is doing right now in China? She's absolutely dominating the entire league in ways that'll make your jaw drop. While the WNBA season ended months ago, Carter is over in the Women's Chinese Basketball Association, putting up numbers that look like they're from a video game.
It is unbelievable. Chennedy Carter, WCBA regular season scoring champion and steals champ. She's scoring 32 points a game over there. With 3 steals, she's got 6 40-plus point games and 1 50-plus.
What? That's massive. Did you catch that? Carter is averaging a jaw-dropping 32 points per game in the whoop bar, making her the league's leading scorer by a huge margin. She's also leading the entire league in steals, snatching away 3 per game. This performance outpaces is even the WNBA's best A.A. Wilson's historic MVP campaign, saw her average around 23 points, while stars like Breanna Stewart-Jewell Lloyd and Ogumba Wally put up similar numbers. Carter is torching them by nearly 10 points per game.
Yeah, listen to this line she had the other night in China. 50 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, 20 for 38, 6 for 11 from 3-point range. Listen to this. She led Wuhan, China, to an upset win.
What makes this situation so crazy is a stark contrast between her dominance and her current status in American basketball. Here's a player absolutely torching an entire professional league overseas, yet not a single WNBA team will offer her a contract. How is that even possible? We're talking about a scoring champion without a job in her home country. You should have seen that game where she exploded for over 50 points. Chinese fans were going absolutely wild, rising to their feet after she hit a step-back 3 with a defender draped all over her when she drove the lane, split 2 defenders, and finished with contact while falling to the floor. The arena erupted. The footage showed a player completely in the zone, making defenders look helpless with every move. Meanwhile, WNBA fans were flooding social media begging teams to bring her back to the States.
I thought about this and I was like, what are we doing here? I mean, look, guys, you know I root for chaos. I need chaos to be signed in the league, all right? If you want to, we can call her chaos. I root for chaos, and there's no way this person, and guys, you know I am not the biggest on a personal level Chennedy Carter fan, but she is way too talented to not be on the WNBA.
Carter has completely transformed the game in China despite past criticisms about her defensive effort. She's proving all those doubters wrong with her league-leading steal numbers. She's become a legitimate two-way player who impacts both ends of.
WNBA fans clamor for Chennedy Carter's return after a standout performance. This was after she dropped that 50-burger the other day. Chennedy Carter produced a team high, not Angel Reese, Chennedy Carter. 17.5 points per game for the Chicago Sky was their only consistent offensive threat in the backcourt. and it seemed to complement post players Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso extremely well.
And this dominance isn't just a one-time thing. Carter has racked up 6 different 40-plus point games this season in China. That's consistent elite scoring night after night that proves she belongs among basketball's elite. Can any WNBA team truly afford to ignore this level of scoring talent? No matter the past issues, Carter's dominance in China proves she might be the most talented player not on a WNBA roster. Pure scoring machine is being wasted overseas when she could be electrifying arenas. In America, the numbers don't lie. She's too good to be ignored forever.
She's blackballed from the league. She's blacklisted now. A lot of people would call her toxic. I mean, I would have said, well, you don't want the Indiana Fever to sign her, but they turned around and signed Brianna Turner. So, I mean, at least we know Chennedy Carter can score the lights out of the place. I mean, seriously.
Remember that split-second moment when the basketball world literally exploded when Chennedy Carter delivered that forearm shiver to Caitlin Clark. It was career suicide what should have been a simple basketball play turned into the most scrutinized 5 seconds in recent WNBA history.
All right, right here, called her a bitch, boom, put her on the floor. All right, we all remember that. I mean, Lord knows, the world exploded.
Incident was anything but subtle. Carter's forearm to Clark resembled a high-speed train derailing in real-time, violent, chaotic, and impossible to look away from.
After that one move, a lot of people called it assault. It really started off the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever situation.
Social media erupted, executives took notice, and suddenly the league's most dynamic scoring guard became radioactive in America. One impulsive action completely derailed a career that was on track for stardom, transforming Carter from rising star to basketball pariah in May 2nd.
I mean, at that, and of course, Angel Reese celebrated, right, coming off the bench, and they were all tight and everything. I gotta wonder, why is Chennedy Carter not on the Chicago Sky anymore? Question mark. Of course, a lot of people will tell you she's had locker room problems. We all know that with various teams, and I guess including that.
Carter had a history of locker room issues with previous teams that have been simmering beneath the surface for years. Teams tolerated these problems because of her undeniable talent, but the Clark incident exposed all those past behaviors under the harshest spotlight possible.
About it. And look, yeah, there was the incident with Caitlin Clark last year. I know. And it's terrible. She's not been the greatest person in a locker room. I get that. But when you got that kind of talent and you can score like that, if it's the old WNBA guard that don't want her in the league, then I kind of want her back in the league.
Timing was catastrophic for Carter. Women's basketball was experiencing unprecedented attention thanks to Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. Millions of new eyes were on the WNBA, and Carter's push happened during what might have been the most watched regular season game in league history. This became front-page news across all sports media, with everyone from casual fans to dedicated analysts weighing in on the controversy. What's truly wild about this situation is that despite all the drama, Carter was absolutely bowling for the Chicago Sky. She was their most consistent offensive threat, putting up 5 points per game in the backcourt. That's the kind of production that usually forces teams to overlook character concerns. Just look at how many troubled NBA players get second, third, and fourth chances when they can score like
games that I saw. She looked a lot like Kelsey Mitchell out there scoring. The Rock. I mean, she is a scorer.
Not everyone rushed to condemn Carter. Either Angel Reese, a teammate at the time, initially came to her defense, suggesting that the locker room issues people kept talking about were being blown way out of proportion. Reese basically said what many players believe, that Carter's on-court production should speak louder than whatever personality conflicts might exist behind closed doors.
So a couple of teams are being thrown out there. I've been throwing this team out there from the very beginning, the Golden State Falcons.
That perfect storm made Carter radioactive in the WNBA, but her scoring ability is creating another perfect storm, one of opportunity. What if I told you there are 2 WNBA teams right now that could transform their entire futures by making one phone call to China? Both the expansion Valkyries and the depleted Sun are missing the exact puzzle piece that Carter represents. But which team would benefit more from taking the risk? Let's start with the Golden State Valkyries as a brand new expansion. Team, they are walking into the WNBA without a single established star. Everyone expects them to struggle. It's almost written into the expansion team playbook. But what if they flip the script completely? Imagine the Valkyries shocking the basketball world by signing Carter and immediately becoming relevant in their inaugural season.
They badly need a scorer, all right? Of course, their expansion team, they're expected to be one of the worst teams in the league. She's instant offense. Would she average 23, 24 points on this team? I don't know. Her and Kate Martin, it'd certainly be interesting.
The Valkyries aren't just missing scoring, they're missing an identity. New teams typically face years of rebuilding before becoming competitive, but Carter would give them instant credibility. Think about how she could transform their offense alongside rookie Kate Martin instead of the painful growing pains most expansion teams endure. The Valkyries could surprise everyone by making a legitimate playoff push in year one.
As a new franchise that has to build from scratch, winning a few high draft picks and future superstars is usually the way to go. And on the other hand, deliberately tanking is not a good strategy to establish a team as a free agent destination. Players want to win, or at least play to the best of their abilities from purely an on-court standpoint. Signing a scorer like Carter would show players that the Valkyries want to be competitive.
A new franchise trying to build a fan base in a crowded Bay Area sports market, the boost and excitement alone might be worth the risk. Fans don't pay to watch rebuilding, they pay to see
Even
stuff.
if they are building for the future. The other one, and this one makes all the sense in the world, because she can hook back up with Diamond DeShields and Marina Mabrey. And that's the Connecticut Sun, who are like a shell of themselves right now.
While the Valkyries offer a blank slate opportunity, the Connecticut Sun presents a contrasting scenario with established infrastructure but urgent needs. Have you seen what's happened to their roster this offseason? The Sun are experiencing a full-blown talent exodus that's left them looking up at teams like the Liberty Lynn's Aces and even the emerging Fever. They're not just weaker, they're at risk of falling completely out of contention after years as a playoff fixture.
This offseason's been a disaster for the Sun. They lost all of their starters from last season. Mabrey wants to be traded. The Sun did not grant that request, holding on to Mabrey and Natasha Cloud in a desperate attempt to avoid a rebuild. If they wanted to rebuild, they would have traded Mabrey and Cloud for draft assets and young players. However, even with Cloud, Tina Charles, and Diamond DeShields, the Sun do not look like one of the more competitive teams.
The Sun needs scoring desperately, and Carter would instantly become their offensive engine. What makes this match particularly intriguing is that Carter would reunite with Diamond DeShields, creating a dynamic backcourt alongside Mariah Jefferson that could revitalize the entire team offensive strategy.
Signing Chennedy Carter would help the Sun look a lot more competitive, at least offensively. It would certainly be an offensive jolt of adrenaline. No doubt about it.
When you look at the Eastern Conference landscape, the Sun without Carter are likely headed for a mid-table finish at best, but with a scorer who can put up 30-plus on any given night. Now we're talking about a team that could legitimately challenge a conference elite again for the Sun. This isn't just about staying relevant, it's about maximizing their remaining championship window. Every game they play without addressing their scoring void is wasted opportunity. Both teams are currently missing out on potential victories by leaving Carter's talents in China, but the Sun represent the ideal situation for her to resurrect her WNBA career. They have a veteran leadership to help integrate her, the immediate need for her skills, and the market size where she could rebuild her reputation without overwhelming scrutiny.
Let Chennedy Carter come in and cause chaos. I want to see chaos. I root for chaos, and I root for interesting, and let's be real, this league is not as interesting without Chennedy Carter in it. Seriously.
History has shown us that controversial players can make successful comebacks, just as Michael Vick and Allen Iverson thrived despite their reputations. The WNBA could benefit from taking the same approach with Carter, and there's a lot
of Sky fans out there that are still lobbying for the team to bring her back. I just don't think they will. I guess locker room, whatever. In the Connecticut Sun, yeah, that makes a lot of sense too. She might have to come off the bench, but why would she? I mean, honestly, shouldn't be in that starting lineup.
Rivalry games are proven viewership gold mines. When there's bad blood between players, fans show up. The WNBA should capitalize on this as they grow, leveraging these headline-grabbing personalities. Carter isn't just some troublemaker. She's elite talent wasting away overseas while teams struggle offensively. Eventually, a GM must decide, is avoiding potential drama worth losing games in sports? Winning transforms narratives. Imagine Carter hitting a championship-clinching shot. Her past becomes just that. The past. The question isn't if she deserves another chance, but which team will be smart enough to take the gamble first.